Aye, yeah. Hey. Hey. Advocate Dalimov Ute, no matter what, we are going to lay an official complaint against Judge Ratamo Kgwatleng. Like it or not, that has been confirmed by Advocate Dalimov. Deal done. Hey, on another one. You know, Mosuguti, this organization, Judge Matters, they always defend judges, magistrate, and they always stand with those people, right? But this time they said, I, they're like, but judge, this what you did now, it's unforgivable. Shouldn't have said that. They are saying no. We cannot defend you on these shenanigans. Forget. That is what Judge Matters Mbegazeli Benjamin says. Judge Ratamo Kgwatleng was correct to call out Advocate Mnisi's professionalism. However, he crossed the line by linking the behavior to a race. He's like, never. It's yakhala. Siku loudspeaker. Right. Now, remember last year, Judge Ratamo Kgwatleng made similar remarks, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember that there was an organization that wrote to him and demanded an apology from him? He ended up apologizing before starting the trial. Do you remember that? That organization is called Law Society of South Africa. Says there are certain by the remarks made by Judge Ratamo Kgwatleng in the sense of Mayiwa trial. Ratamo Kgwatleng so the it's Law Society of South Africa President Nkosana Mvundlela says they are more disappointed that in a space of 8 months they will be dealing with the same matter again. They dealt with it last year. Now this year they are dealing with the same Kulurata who does not want to repent. Kulurata does not want to repent. I'm telling you. Some of you guys don't understand what's going on. I'm gonna give you something. Don't worry. But for now, let's deal with this. Let's deal with this aspect here. Let's start with Advocate Mpofu confirming that indeed they will be laying a complaint. He said it here.
But then the second issue is about the remarks that he made about black lawyers. That is totally regrettable and unfortunate, and actually something to be condemned in the strongest possible terms. Because to make remarks like that, and he's doing this for the second time, remember on the first occasion he apologized for making similar remarks. So it seems that this is something that he strongly believes in, the inferiority or difference of black people in general, or black lawyers.
All right.
And we cannot afford to have judges who can spew out racist remarks like that. Whether they are black or white, it doesn't matter. For some, remember, a judge is an embodiment of society and represents the Constitution itself and protects the Constitution. That Constitution says that we must move from the ills of the past. And for someone to be repeatedly repeating those ills of the past. And I dare say that if a remark like that was made by a white judge, somebody would be up in arms. Yeah. And in my book, it doesn't make any difference that it is made, because it's self-hate, and it's exactly what Steve Biko and Fanon and people like that were talking about, that we imbibe our own inferiority and we then exhibit it in some form of seeking white validation. Yeah. And that is not acceptable in normal society. If I said it to you, Pauline, and I said all black journalists are like this, you would take exception properly so. Yeah. And we must not accept that. And as Pabasa, we will be taking this up with the Judicial Services Commission through the proper channels. and probably lay a formal complaint against this kind of conduct, because it's unacceptable. And I'm saying that, Tolly, without going into the merits of what Mnisi did or didn't do, or whether it was right or wrong, but there is nothing that Mnisi could have done to justify this kind of racist vitriol.
So let's move to this thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether. Whether Judge Mokgwatleng maybe doesn't want to preside over this trial, or he can see that maybe this trial is complicating his life. Maybe he's doing this so that he can be removed. I'm not sure whether he's doing these things because it is who he is. You understand? I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether all the things that he's doing, it is because maybe he is a white person trapped in a black body. I'm not sure. One of these things got to be the truth, right? But I'm not sure. I'm still trying to make sense and process all the things that he's saying. But for me, sitting here and I'm saying to myself, there's a problem with this behavior. Like, there's a problem. Let me tell you guys, there are things that I, as a leader in my smaller Nyana space, there are things that I cannot say. Never. I'll give an example. There's a lot of information I know I have about the Senzo Mewa trial. A lot. Like, I would get serious sources, understand? I will speak to even lawyers in the Senzo Mewa trial, but there are things that I will never say in front of this camera. Even when I'm sent information, the first thing that I ask, I'll give an example. You see the information that I was sharing about Advocate Therefore being refused access to court. It was shared to me by Sis Patricia Mashal and say, hey Bongs, check this. You understand? I looked at it and Sis Pat, is this for public or it's for us? So in other words, there are things that even if if no matter how much I know them, but it's not for the public, it's for us to know them. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying you must choose what you say in public and what you're not saying in public. With Rata, it looks like it's freeway, everything. Okay, you see, that's the problem. That's the problem with the kind of leaders that does not understand that your word is so much important that you can't speak anything. Like, I can start an allegation against a judge, I can start an allegation against a lawyer in this YouTube channel. But I must also think about it to say, what will be the impact of my doing as a content creator? What would be my impact of that? Or what would be my impact on that specific lawyer or on that specific judge? That's why I'm only commenting about things that are on the public domain, not things that are, most of the time, not things that are behind the scenes. Behind the scenes stuff, I usually keep it to myself because I understand that there will be that thing. So I'm saying we can't raise leaders that occupy serious position but do not understand that fundamental concept. No, we just cannot. The church matters also agree with me that no. This is what they say.
Yes, so it was perfectly correct for Judge Mokgwatleng to call out the lawyers and the delays that they and their behavior is causing to the trial. That was acceptable, and he should have called them out for it and asked them to adhere to their ethics. But as soon as the judge started speaking about race and referencing behavior to race, then he crossed the line. That is not acceptable, right? The lawyers across the board, and in fact, judges and magistrates across the country are starting to get concerned about the behavior of lawyers. But it's not a white or black thing. It's not a man-woman thing or anything in between. It has nothing to do with people's demographics or identity. It is behavior that must be called out. And so the judge was wrong in making reference to race. And in fact, Article 9 of the Code of Judicial Conduct is very clear that a judge has to ensure that there is a fair trial. And in doing so, there must be proper decorum in court, there must be order in court, And the judge must sometimes make harsh comments against the lawyers, but he is not allowed to make derogatory statements about a specific person. And in fact, the code just does say you must avoid harsh language. So you must use stern and firm language, but you shouldn't use harsh language, and because that unfortunately becomes unethical on the part of the judge. So it becomes ironic that he is also conducting himself unethically to call out unethical conduct. So again, I wish everyone would just take a step back and sort of get perspective on some of these things, because some of this behavior is just not acceptable.
Again, look at this now. The fact that last year we were dealing with the same matter, this year we are still dealing with the same matter. That alone, it tells us that there's a problem here with Judge Ratamo Khwatleng. Remember, the other time I defined you, I stood before you and I defined what character is. And do you remember what I say? Okay, let me tell you this. Character is a combination of two things. Character is a combination of thoughts and feelings. What you see, what you hear, it forms thought. Thoughts prepare a way for action. Action repeated forms habit. Habit forms character. Character determines who you are. What I'm trying to say is, when you do something repeatedly, we must look at it in this way. It is now not a mistake, but it is either your habit or it has been your character. It cannot be that last year we were complaining about, or we complained about the very same man doing the same thing. Black lawyers, this. This year, same thing. And he's been saying those things. Do you then say it's a mistake? No, it was not a mistake. Remember the process of forming a character. Remember how it takes for a thing to become your character, or for anything to become your character. Do you remember that process? Judge Ratamo Khwatleng has made it his character that he does not regard black people. He thinks he's a white man trapped in a black skin body, like somebody that I'm not gonna name. The Law Society said that they have a problem with him last year, and they laid a complaint. And this is what they said.
It is a very unfortunate statement made by a presiding officer who has taken oath to defend and protect the rule of law and democracy. It is very saddening that almost 11 months ago, we were actually addressing the very same issue of this disparaging remarks that are made by a judge presiding in this matter. You would recall that last year, we around this time, around May, we were addressing the issue of almost the same context. It cannot be correct that judicial officers sits there and instead of addressing issues with which they are unhappy with the conduct of a practitioner who has written a letter or a note to them or via a registrar as they ought to, and then they read it out there in public, but in an unprovoked manner, a person then goes out and makes such unfortunate remarks. It is just a very, very sad day indeed in South Africa that we are sitting with this kind of a context.
So I want you to tell me in the comment section below, how do you handle all of this? What do you do? What do you do? Now, I'm going to be doing a different video. I thought to myself, especially the one of Parliament, I thought to myself, let me separate the one of Parliament with this one, because this one deserves it deserves the attention of its own, right? So I decided that I'm going to separate the parliamentary one and this one. Now, I want you to tell me in the comment section below, what do you make of those things? But for me, I'm going to tell you this. This has become Judge Ratamo Khwatleng's character. It has become who he is. You know what I'm saying? We can no longer say that. We can no longer say it's a mistake. No. Consider the fact that every now and again, when he's speaking, he will refer to these things. He will reference these things, these smallanyana things. You understand? I am wondering, the cases that we don't know, what was done on those cases? the cases that we have never heard of. How did Judge Rata Mokgwatleng behave in all of those things? I don't know. But this morning, probably he is going to apologize because that's how they get away with it. I don't know. Let's wait and see. Probably the first thing this morning, what he's going to do, he is going to issue an apology. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that, but you need to listen to what Parliament has got to say.